Welcome back to Book Break. This video is all about books for night owls. And hang in there, morning people, because we do have a video coming for you next week. But all of you who love to be awake with the moon while everyone else is asleep, I bet you will love these books. First up, I have Night Shift by Kiara Ladner, which is about a woman who works a night shift. So it's very much set in that otherworldly place that you get to in the middle of the night when everyone else is sleeping. It's about a woman called Meggie who takes this job working a night shift because she meets and becomes obsessed with this woman called Sabine and wants to spend all of the time that she can with Sabine. So giving up her normal life, her whole daytime existence, her other relationships, her boyfriend, just to get closer to Sabine. So it's all about obsession and takes on this really dreamlike quality while you're reading it. After Dark by Haruki Murakami is set all in the course of one night in Tokyo. Just part of a night. It all takes place between midnight and dawn. Those hours that night owls know and love very well. And it's all about the strange and surreal encounters between several characters all along while the sister of one of the main characters is sleeping, a sleep that she has been in for several months. I think this book is probably the most accessible of Haruki Murakami's books, so it's a good place to start if you've always been intrigued by reading some of his books but find some of them a bit intimidating. And it's good and short enough for you to read all in one night before the sun comes up. Late at Night in the Dark is a great time to read thrillers, as long as you don't give yourself nightmares when you finally do go to sleep. So I have got here The Night Stalker by Claire Donahue. This book is set at Dead Woman's Ditch in Somerset, which was the site of an infamous murder 200 years ago and where another body has just been found. And the whole community is petrified. They don't step out of their houses at night. They're convinced there is someone or something stalking the area. And so the whole community is just gripped by superstition. And then for another super tense page turner, I've got A Window Breaks by C.M. Ewan. This is another one that is set all over the course of one night. So this is about a family who have just gone for a break to this very remote Scottish lodge. They are still healing from the death of their son several months earlier. So this couple and their daughter have gone to stay at this house. But in the middle of the night, 2 in the morning, the husband is woken by the noise you never want to hear. Someone has broken into the house. This one absolutely terrified me. It's really claustrophobic because it all takes place in this house in the middle of nowhere. Will have you racing through the pages all night. If you're really brave, much braver than me, then the nighttime is a great time to read horror. And How to Recognize a Demon Has Become Your Friend by Linda Addison is a collection of horror and sci-fi poems and short stories. And something really cool about this book is that it actually made Linda Addison the first African-American writer to receive the Bram Stoker Award from the Horror Writers Association. It's all about revealing demons in likely people and unlikely places. Night Film by Marisha Pessl is a bit of a cult book, and this one has a really interesting format. So it's about a journalist looking into the mysterious death of a young woman called Ashley Cordova, whose father is this legendary reclusive horror movie director who has not been seen in public for over 30 years. And it uses mixed media, so you get newspaper articles, blog posts in here, and it's almost quite meta in the way that Cordova, the director in this book, has this cult following, people who are completely obsessed with him, all of these forums, all within the universe of the book, dedicated to finding clues in his movies. And then in real life, you get that echoed with this book. There are actually genuinely so many internet forums. You can dive into those rabbit holes and find people trawling through this book to find even more clues that you might have missed on your first reading, which is also a really fun night owl activity. I think a lot of night owls would agree that the nighttime can have a very magical quality sometimes, so some late night fantasy can be a great choice. The Nightjar by Deborah Hewitt is set in an alternate London, and it draws on the folklore of nightjars, these birds that allegedly guard our souls. So that's a really fun one to read late at night when you're ready to let your imagination fly. Sorry, not sorry for the pun there. Swimmer Among the Stars by Kanishk the Rur is a short story collection with a really dreamlike feel to it. So some of the stories in here include an interview with the last speaker of a language, the lonely voyage of an elephant to a princess's palace in Morocco, and a fabled cook who flavours his food with precious stones. So this collection has a really fairy tale-like feel to it that takes you to different worlds, different places, which is where your mind is always travelling to in the middle of the night anyway. Changing pace a little bit, I've got Our Souls at Night by Kent Haruf, which is a really beautiful story about two neighbours who have lived next door for years and are now living these rather quiet, lonely lives in houses empty of the families that once lived there. And so during the nights they form a companionship. And there is now a movie that you can watch on Netflix with Robert Redford and Jane Fonda. Just a beautiful story to make night owls shed a few tears. And then I'm going to finish off with a few dystopian novels. I think this is a really popular genre with night owls. So I've got here Leave the World Behind by Rumaan Alam, which is a really eerie dystopian novel that begins with a widespread power cut, leaving everyone in the dark where you night owls already are. So this is about a wealthy family who are renting a house for a holiday when they are disturbed late at night by a knock on the door, and it's the couple who own the house come to say that there is no power anywhere else other than in this house. They can't get back to the city and they are forced to seek shelter in this house. And it's a very slow-paced, creepy book. It's kind of got the quality of one of those nightmares where you're not exactly sure what it is that you're scared of, but you know there's something out there. And if you're one of those night owls who lies awake at night in existential panic about the end of the world, this one might scare you, but at least it also puts all of your worries down on paper. Another eerie dystopia like that is The Dreamers by Karen Thompson Walker. This is about an illness that spreads through a college town, causing people to fall into a deep sleep. It's very, very contagious, and so panic sets in, the town is quarantined, the National Guard is summoned, and still the infected continue to sleep. But while they're sleeping, their brains are displaying unusually high signs of activity. They are dreaming about something, but about what? And both this book and the last one I mentioned are not for people who like everything to be neatly tied up at the end. I know not everybody likes those sort of ambiguous endings, but I think night owls are maybe the most likely to be happy to lose themselves in a strange story and wake up unsure of exactly what just happened. And finally, if you love the isolation of the nighttime, you can't get more isolated than outer space. Good Morning Midnight by Lily Brooks Dalton is about a group of astronauts who are travelling home from a mission the furthest into space anyone has ever travelled when mission control suddenly falls inexplicably silent. A catastrophic event has occurred on Earth, and so the home they are travelling towards may no longer be there. Absolutely terrifying concept, but I did find this one a very beautiful book. So there you go, those are my suggestions for books for night owls. Do let me know in the comments below, are you a night owl or a morning person? And morning people, as I said, I do have a recommendation video coming up for you next week, so hang in there. In the meantime, I will link to a playlist of all of the other times we have tried here on Book Break to find you your perfect book recommendations, whether it's based on your personality type or the very niche things you are looking for in a book. So click through and have a browse, and hopefully we'll find you your perfect book. See you next time.